Tonight, a callous criminal's brutal takedown of an 84-year-old grandmother in her own western suburb street. Now she's too scared to even catch the bus.
Machetes swinging, teen gang warfare in Rundle Mall. What police are doing to keep the public safe.
It's Christmas pageant eve. 300,000 spectators to flock into the city. We have all the information you need.
Truck troubles trips the power for residents and businesses in Adelaide's north and creates traffic chaos.
And the two trainers in the Melbourne Cup running there hoping to put South Australia on the map.
This is Adelaide's 9 News with Kate Collins and Brenton Ragless.
Good evening. An 84-year-old grandmother is tonight too scared to leave her own home after a brutal bag snatch in broad daylight on a western suburb street.
She's spoken to 9 News about her ordeal, and tonight you can help her. Police hoping someone will recognise the callous criminal from the vision you're about to see.
The security vision is confronting and hard to watch. A frail elderly woman walking home from the shops when an opportunistic thug steals her bag, dragging her along the footpath. As she lays injured, he comes back, sifting through her bags and then takes off. The 84-year-old is grandmother Anne Hun. Are you okay?
Yeah, okay now. Okay now.
She's battered and bruised and still has a large lump from where she smashed her head on the footpath, but Anne is just extremely grateful for a young tradesman who rushed to her side, helping her home.
She was distressed and probably quite concussed. She was a little bit wobbly on her feet. I had to stabilise her for the most of the walk home.
The violent daylight robbery happened last Friday at around midday on Thanet Street in Brooklyn Park. It was just another trip to the shops for the 84-year-old, but now she's too afraid to go out alone. Will you still go out and walk the street and catch the bus?
No.
You won't catch the bus anymore?
No.
Jessie was the last person to see the suspect fleeing down Henley Beach Road. Police say he has distinctive tattoos on his left arm and possibly his right. Anyone who recognises him is urged to contact Crime Stoppers.
He was between his mid-40s to 50s, so I was a bit shocked that someone of that age and that maturity, I guess, could be doing something like that.
The callousness of that guy and the opportunist, I can't believe that he would do that to such an poor old lady.
Keziah Sullivan, 9 News.
Concern tonight over an escalation in teen gang violence across Adelaide. Police moving to reassure the public they'll be protected in the wake of a wild machete fight in Rundle Mall.
Two teenage gangs wielding machetes lash out at each other in the middle of a busy Rundle Mall.
The complete disregard for public safety is something that's extremely concerning.
The brawl erupting, then over in seconds as the two rival groups make a run for it just after 6 last night.
It's one thing to come together with another group of people you're having a conflict with, but it's another level to have that in an extremely public place like Rundle Mall.
Police swiftly arrested 3 teens allegedly from one of the gangs on nearby Flinders Street. The youngest aged only 14, another 15, along with a 17-year-old who was already on bail. 3 offenders from the other side remain on the run. Police confirming concerns about teen gang violence in the CBD.
I want to reassure the community that police are taking antisocial behaviour seriously.
I've been in Rundle Mall on a Friday night lately and there's so many youth that are just yelling and screaming at each other and gangs and stuff like that.
Why are they not at home where they should be?
Police say protecting the public from being caught up in the gang violence is their priority, and they'll continue to use special law enforcement powers in place here in the CBD, including the use of metal detectors to search suspects for weapons.
But escalating youth violence isn't just a danger in the city. A teen stabbed in a fight inside the Elizabeth City shopping centre just last week. And at Westfield Marion, a group of knife-wielding youth sent the centre into a full emergency lockdown in June.
They are expanding their involvement, and that's something, again, we're very conscious about, which does complicate the difficulty in responding to these types of matters.
Samantha Hogan, 9 News.
Christmas pageant preparations are right now in full swing, with organisers expecting well over 300,000 people to line the city streets for the famous parade.
This year, there'll be a nod to the past, with Father Christmas delivering his festive message from a stage he first graced in 1933.
Packing up the mini floats, costumes and props, elves busy loading trucks to transport all of the pageant magic to the start line. Setting the stage for the Southern Hemisphere's largest public parade.
I think we're looking for a bumper crowd. It'll beautiful sunshine like today, ready and raring to go. I think we'll get a big crowd.
The pageant will feature more than 170 moving theatrical sets, including 85 floats and dance groups, choirs, skaters, circus performers, and over 300 clowns and elves. As in previous years, the pageant begins at South Terrace at 9:30 in the morning, heading north on King William Street before turning through Victoria Square onto Wakefield Street. Then turning left to travel along Pulteney Street, North Terrace and King William Street before Father Christmas takes a special new detour into Rundle Mall.
We'll bring him down the middle of the mall and we'll land him here on the landing stage, which is all fenced up at the minute, but that'll all be beautifully decorated for tomorrow morning when Father Christmas arrives.
Roads will be closed in the heart of the city from either midnight or 5 a.m, reopening after lunch. And there will be free public transport tomorrow morning from 6:30 a.m. till 2. There will be a significant police presence for our biggest public event of the year, officers on hand to keep people safe during the event. Today, a word of caution to those who traditionally camp out for a better vantage point.
We prefer that people don't camp on roads because, as I said, that element of risk is absolutely there.
They sit there on the footpath, camp out and wait until they get to the blue honour line. Now that's happened when it's been raining. So imagine with this glorious weather now, God knows how early they'll be out this time.
Josephine Shannon, 9 News.
And we are live at a couple of key locations along this year's pageant route. Let's go first to where it all begins. Josephine Shannon, final preparations are underway there at the makeshift pageant HQ.
That's right, Kate. It's here at Pulteney Grammar School where pageant participants will arrive here in the morning nice and early to get into character. Their costumes and mini floats have already started to arrive from Stardust Castle. And of course, those larger floats, they won't be driven here in a convoy until 3 a.m. in the morning. But it all gets underway when the golden whistle blows at 9:30. Brenton.
We'll go overnight, Josie. Thanks so much. And let's go to Chelsea Carey because pageant goers are being warned to prepare for hot conditions. Chelsea, you're at one of the main vantage points there in Victoria Square, and Father Christmas will have a warm welcome.
Brenton, we're looking at Adelaide's hottest day in over 7 months with a top of 35 degrees. And a lot of the vantage points like this one are in full sun, so people will need to take extra care. Now, tomorrow when the pageant kicks off at 9:30 a.m, it's set to already be around 23 degrees and warming up quickly around 30 degrees when Father Christmas arrives at 11:30. So pageant goers are being reminded to pack plenty of water and sunscreen and seek shade where possible. Brenton.
Good call. Thanks so much, Chelsea. And the pageant will be broadcast right here on 9 and 9 now tomorrow morning at 10:30. Plus, we'll have a replay at 7:30 in the evening.
A truck driver accused of a hit-run crash which brought down power lines and shut down Grand Junction Road this morning has been tracked down by police. The collision causing headaches for peak hour commuters while hundreds of homes and businesses were left without power.
A B-double truck seen travelling west along Grand Junction Road. Seconds later, a bright flash, sparks fly as the power cuts out.
Bro, what the f***?
Police say the truck smashed into a Stobie pole just before 1:20 this morning, leaving a trail of destruction.
It was a massive bang, and then my window was open. I saw flashes. I thought it was thunder.
The force bending it to the ground and bringing power lines down across both lanes. Despite the heavy impact, the driver allegedly didn't stop.
It was like completely bright, and you could smell it. It was like burning.
2 cranes brought in to remove the damaged Stobie pole. Grand Junction Road shut down between May North and Prospect Road, causing headaches for morning commuters.
It's frustrating. I'm late already.
Yeah, maybe another 10-20 minutes, who knows. I'm not really sure how should I get to my work now.
And more than 500 homes and businesses without power.
So we're not able to operate today, I'm sorry.
I wouldn't want to even think about what the financial impact would be on not just us, but pretty well everyone here.
That's unthinkable. How does that happen?
that pole is in half.
Police are investigating the moments leading up to the crash and why the driver failed to stop.
Why would you keep going? There's obviously a reason why he's kept going. He's known what he's done.
A 34-year-old Mawson Lakes man was tracked down by police and reported for leaving the scene of an accident. Dylan Smith, 9 News.
A South Australian man has suffered severe lead poisoning after taking an imported medicine from an Asian supermarket. Will DeFulvio joined us. Will, SA Health are concerned for others taking the same pill.
So concerned, Brenton, the authorities have issued a public warning. The medicine, commonly known as Camini, is advertised as a powerful stimulant useful for weakness and lack of vigour and vitality. But further testing has detected mercury and lead inside, possibly even opioids, which poses increased concern of overdose once people become dependent. Camini is illegal to sell. The Therapeutic Goods Administration is working to stop it at the border, but SA Health believe it's finding its way online as well as into some Asian supermarkets. They're asking anyone with the little black pills to stop taking them immediately.
Now that our medical practitioners are more aware, it might not be surprising to find more people that are implicated.
The poisoned patient has been discharged from hospital but still needs ongoing treatment to lower the lead levels in his blood.
Will, thank you. A woman is fighting for life in hospital with meningococcal disease. She's being treated in the Royal Adelaide Hospital. The woman, aged in her 30s, is from metropolitan Adelaide. 5 close contacts are being treated to prevent further transmission. Symptoms include a skin rash, neck stiffness, headaches, fever and vomiting. So far, there have been 26 cases of meningococcal in South Australia this year.
A man has died after a single car crash at Para Vista this morning. The car crashed through a roundabout and into a Stovey pole on Nelson and Montague Roads just before 11. The passenger, a woman in her 70s, was taken to hospital with non-serious injuries. Sadly, the driver, a 76-year-old man from St Agnes, died at the scene.
The police task force combating Adelaide's black market tobacco trade and the crime war it sparked has revealed a series of major busts. In one case, an illegal pop-up shop was discovered in Port Augusta, complete with signs and price lists, while 2 other truckloads of tobacco, cigarettes and vapes have also been seized as they were being driven into Adelaide from interstate.
We currently have a key focus placed on transit routes into South Australia to identify trucks, buses, cars that are carrying illicit tobacco into South Australia, and we intend on disrupting any criminal activity of that nature.
The total value of the seizures, close to $1 million. 3 people have so far been charged.
A knife-wielding man has threatened staff at a Gillis Plains service station, making off with cash before running towards a nearby shopping centre on North East Road. It happened just before 10 last night, with police unable to find the wanted man. Thankfully, no staff members were injured.
Profoundly and seriously offensive. That's the ruling of the federal court over an angry tweet Pauline Hanson fired off to a political opponent. The senator argued it was a fair comment. Instead, it's been deemed unlawful and racist, and she's now been ordered to pay up.
A victory march out of federal court as Marine Faruqi relishes the ruling. She's a victim of racial vilification.
Today is a win of every single person who has been told to go back to where they came from.
Conquering over fellow Senator Pauline Hanson, who told her she had taken every advantage of this country and to piss off back to Pakistan in a tweet in 2022.
Her tweet was an angry personal attack.
And now judged unlawful under the Racial Discrimination Act.
It is a message that Senator Faruqi is, as an immigrant, a second-class citizen, and that she should be grateful for what she has and keep quiet.
It will set a new precedent of how racism is viewed in this country.
The court taking into account the senator's near 3-decade track record in the public eye.
Senator Hanson has a tendency to make negative, derogatory, discriminating or hateful statements.
Senator Hanson has been ordered to delete the offensive tweet and pick up the bill for Senator Faruqi's legal costs, which are in the hundreds of thousands of dollars.
This ruling draws a line that hate speech is not free speech.
Back on Twitter today, Hanson says she's deeply disappointed and it impinges on freedom of political expression. She's now preparing to appeal.
At the federal court, Annalise Bolt, 9 News.
It's an election with global repercussions, but today the US presidential candidates honed in on local issues that could decide the winner. Donald Trump and Kamala Harris went west to share their stance on women's rights and court the Latino vote.
Puerto Rico's biggest name getting loud in Sin City.
I am Puerto Rican. Soy Boricua carajo. And yes, I was born here. And we are Americans.
Jenny from the block, all in for the vice president.
I am an actor and an entertainer, and I like Hollywood endings. I like when the good guy, or in this case, the good girl, wins.
In this election, there's no path to the White House without Hispanic voters.
Hispanics love Trump. They do.
As both candidates headed west, Donald Trump faced a recurring headache over comments he made the night before.
I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not. I'm going to protect them.
You never see him around strong, intelligent women, ever.
When it comes to voting early, women are far outpacing men, which is making Trump supporters nervous. His critics say he's too focused on the young male vote, and abortion rights are on the ballot in Arizona.
The government shouldn't be telling her what to do.
This race to the White House has become a divide of demographics. Young voters, women, Latinos, men, both campaigns throwing everything at capturing the narrowing number of undecided Americans.
This was Mexico before it was Arizona. So when they tell us to go back to where we came from, you guys go.
He's the only guy that can put our country back where it needs to be.
In Phoenix, Arizona, Lauren Tomasi, 9 News.
And Nine's political editor Charles Croucher is in the United States. This is his analysis with 5 days to go.
Earlier this week, retired four-star Admiral Bill McRaven endorsed Kamala Harris, saying Donald Trump consistently violates every principle of good leadership. Admiral McRaven was born in a swing state, became a Navy SEAL, served, led the Joint Special Operations Command, and was the architect of the raid that killed bin Laden. Not too long ago, such an endorsement would have been seismic, but that was before Donald Trump and this era of the streets versus the elites. Class and education will be the biggest divide of this election here in America, rivaling men versus women. And that's simply because the cost of living and inflation hurts the streets a whole lot more than it hurts the elites. Even in the military, there's a lot more regular servicemen and women than retired four-star admirals. And the Trump campaign is counting on it.
Charles Croucher there. Well, Corey Norris is here now with a look ahead to sport. And Corey, a local hope is primed for the Melbourne Cup.
Yeah, Kate, the map is ready to take on the world in Tuesday's great race. And later in sport, we'll catch up with the Murray Bridge couple who are daring to dream big and why the Mayor's recent winless streak isn't of any concern. Also, Chris Waller explains the cautious decision with his Cox Plate winner and why the Strikers skipper is anything short of ambitious. That's all coming up later in sport.
Great stuff. Thank you, Corey. An emergency life-saving alarm goes unheard,
leaving 2 police dogs inside a patrol car to die. Next, what went so horribly wrong for 2 of the force's best, Extra and Soldier.
Plus, what does it take to be able to afford a mortgage on a medium-sized Adelaide home?
I'll break down the salaries now needed to buy a home and the simple things you can do to increase your borrowing power.
Plus, a little later, blockbusters, bestsellers and your favourite magazines. How to get access to them all for free.
A man has been assaulted in his Hawthorn home. Police and ambulance crews were called to Egmont Terrace just after 11 this morning after reports a man had been stabbed. The victim was taken to hospital for treatment. While no charges have yet been laid over the stabbing, a 30-year-old Edwardstown man was arrested at the scene in relation to an outstanding warrant.
A technical malfunction is being blamed for the deaths of 2 police dogs in Sydney. The canines, Extra and Soldier, were attending a development day yesterday when they were found unresponsive in the back of their vehicle by their handler.
It is normal procedure that we can actually put the dogs in the pod. Primary cooling source would be the air conditioner. Unfortunately, when we returned to the motor vehicle, it had ceased, which obviously that makes the air conditioner cease as well.
Police are planning a formal memorial for the dogs once the investigation is complete.
Efforts to curb Australia's ballooning disability costs are starting to pay dividends, with the scheme coming in $1 billion lower than expected. But the Minister in charge, Bill Shorten, says savings haven't come from reducing vital services, but a crackdown on fraud and quality assurance.
Police, search for it! NDIS scammers facing the full force of justice. 3 Western Sydney shonks jailed for almost 13 years combined for a $6 million fraud of the disability scheme through 3 dodgy companies. Police seizing luxury cars, cash, cryptocurrency and bags of gold bullion. Crooks treating the NDIS like a taxpayer-funded ATM.
And we say to those people, get off our scheme, you're not welcome, you will get caught.
Slowly but surely, the runaway costs of the NDIS are being reined in.
When providers do not do what they are expected to do, the regulatory action follows.
Stronger oversight and faster complaints handling, shaving $1 billion from the cost of the NDIS in the past year.
We're getting better outcomes without having to spend quite as much money as we expected to.
We think it's very important that it's sustainable. We want to ensure that that's not at the cost of the supports to those participants.
Young Australians, often with less severe disabilities, among the scheme's costliest. Of the 660,000 NDIS participants, more than a third have autism. The next biggest participant group, intellectual disability, followed by developmental delay and psychosocial delay. More than half of participants, children. The biggest cohort, 7 to 14-year-olds. Returning the focus of the NDIS to those with severe and profound disability is a necessary aim if it's to continue its vital work helping those most vulnerable. Andrew Probyn, 9 News.
Adelaide's median house price is now sitting at $864,000, playing a crucial part in pushing up national prices. It is tough to get into the housing market, and tonight Nine's money editor Effie Zahos breaks down the income you need to buy and how to maximise your borrowing power.
So how much income do you need to now buy a home? CanStar's analysis reveals that if you're looking to buy a medium price home now with a 20% deposit, that's to avoid lenders' mortgage insurance, Darwin comes in as most affordable. Household income of $117,200. Adelaide comes in at $158,600, but for those wanting to buy a house in Sydney, the income required jumps to $249,800. Units are considerably cheaper to buy than houses, and according to CoreLogic, a discount of around 32% on the median house values across combined capital cities. And in Perth, you'd need a household income of $116,800, Melbourne $121,400, and in Brisbane $129,600. To increase your borrowing power, consider these tips. Cut your potential. And if you have a HECS help debt, get some good expert advice around whether or not you may be better off clearing that debt, even if it means using a portion of your deposit savings. And shop lenders. Different banks assess applications differently, so explore your options. But most importantly, do not overcommit yourself.
Coming face to face with a great white shark.
The 2 mates whose fishing trip took a terrifying turn. Next, see the vision their GoPro captured when the 4-metre underwater giant discovered where they were.
Wild scenes in LA, shops looted, a bus set on fire as the Dodgers win the Baseball World Series.
And a suspected fraudster grilled over a $500,000 cheese con.
Almost 160 people have now died in flash flooding in Spain, with authorities warning many more people are still unaccounted for.
Rescues are still ongoing as teams reach areas previously cut off by water.
Suburban streets resembling junkyards. Cars and debris scooped up, shaken and tossed into a muddy heap. The aftermath of catastrophic flash flooding that swept through Spain. When it hit, there was little anyone could do.
Suddenly we get messages saying the water is coming, the water is coming.
The torrents swallowing everything in their path. Emergency crews working for days to save those caught out by the water. In Valencia, a baby is among those rescued by air. Just south in Catastrophic, residents are forced to use a rope to save a man struggling in the current. But many didn't make it. The number of dead surging as emergency crews access more areas. In one garage in Valencia's La Torre district, 9 bodies were discovered. Visiting the region, Spain's Prime Minister reaffirming support for victims. The clean-up is only just beginning, and many roads and rail services will be out of action for weeks, maybe longer. Homes and shops destroyed throughout the region. Thousands have lost everything and don't know where to turn. We don't know where to search for water or buy food, this woman says.
This is apocalypse.
Elena Rodriguez spent 20 years living in Australia. She's now in Valencia, pleading for international help.
People don't have water, don't have food. I ask you, Australia, please help my other brothers and sisters.
Satellite photos show the difference from before the storm to after. Meteorologists say it was caused by something known as Dana, when a low pressure system becomes blocked by a high pressure system.
In this particular instance, it has resulted in quite catastrophic events, as we've seen.
Warnings for people to stay indoors remain in place. In London, Edward Godfrey, 9 News.
Phenomenal. The cycle of retaliation is set to continue in the Middle East. Iranian officials vowing today that their response to Israel's recent missile attack is coming, and it will be harsh. Earlier today, 7 people died in Israel from a barrage of Hezbollah rockets, the deadliest cross-border strikes in the country since the IDF invaded Lebanon earlier this month. North Korea is showing off its military might. This is the first look at their intercontinental ballistic missile tested yesterday. South Korea and Japan have reported the projectile flew higher than any other missile North Korea has ever tested, sparking fears it was designed to strike the United States.
A night of celebrations has descended into chaos on the streets of LA. A bus set alight, multiple stores looted and fireworks fired off near police. All of this sparked by euphoric baseball fans who were partying after the Dodgers won the World Series. The streets took several hours to clear and a number of people were arrested. Criminals often chase down cheddar, but it doesn't usually mean cheese. A 63-year-old man has been arrested in the UK in connection with the theft of $500,000 worth of dairy. 22 tonnes of cheddar, that's 950 wheels, were delivered to an alleged fraudster who was posing as a wholesale distributor in France.
2 Perth divers have had a heart-stopping close encounter with a great white shark off the WA coast. The entire ordeal was captured on GoPro, with a 4-metre predator circling the pair for around 5 minutes.
It came like straight over my head like that with its mouth a little bit open. I could have reached up and touched it. Another few minutes down the track, it might have been different.
The shark eventually lost interest, letting the pair swim back to the safety of their boat.
I don't think I'll be going for a swim tomorrow.
Crazy, isn't it?
Well, the budget-busting free entertainment for all seniors.
That's right, watch blockbuster movies and get the latest bestsellers without paying a cent. Up next, how you can get access to the Home Entertainment Scheme.
And the vacant part-time jobs helping South Australians earn thousands in Christmas cash.
Plus, the price slashed off a new cutting-edge cancer treatment which just hit the market.
Many South Australians are library members, but they may not realise all of the free entertainment at their fingertips. From digital books to movies and music, there are many options helping you enjoy your spare time without spending a cent.
Book lover Jan loves browsing at her local library.
And you've got a
special genre that you like of
I
books?
like English murder mysteries with not too many horrible details.
Jan usually borrows them in person, but today she's learning about another option, how to access free entertainment electronically.
So it's a very easy option and we're more than happy to help set you up.
Libraries now subscribe to a number of resources giving members free remote access to books, movies, music and more. And as a library member, you can read, watch or listen to them on your mobile phone, electronic tablet, computer or television. Librarian Tia is teaching Jan how to download the apps.
So we have 3 of them here. I've got Libby, which you can see, we've got Borrow Box and we've got Hoopla.
Through Libby and Borrow Box, you can access award-winning novels, travel guides, craft manuals, even recipe books, as well as audiobooks that you'd have to pay for with other services.
You might be someone that just wants to go for your morning walk and you want to listen to a biography.
With Hoopla, you can stream free movies, documentaries, TV shows, plus music. I'm surprised to learn I can read the latest edition of my favourite magazine on my laptop. Local libraries are a wonderful community resource, especially for seniors. So you might as well sign up because membership is free.
I think a lot of people are surprised what you can actually get from the library.
Different libraries subscribe to different digital resources, so check what's on offer at yours. Bruce Page, 9 News.
A new cancer treatment is hitting the market for a rare and incurable form of the disease. The blood cancer myelofibrosis initially presents as an itchy and painful rash. The treatment, named Ladaga, works to prevent its spread to the patient's blood and internal organs. There are more than 2,000 Australians, living with this type of cancer.
Almost half of all Aussies are looking for a second job to deal with the rising cost of living, many relying on a side hustle to make extra cash. And with several online platforms connecting people who need jobs done, you can now generate thousands of dollars each month.
There's no job too big or small for 26-year-old Mackenzie Wyatt, who turned to Airtasker to bring in some extra cash earlier this year.
We do rubbish runs, we do all gardening, we do furniture removals in stores, putting furniture together, general handyman stuff.
Within months, he'd quit his job in the mines to start his own business and now hires 4 friends to help out.
So I'm making about $16,500 to about $17,500 a month. Yeah, so 4 weeks, and that's off a 5-day week, probably 8 to 10 hours a day.
With jobs ranging from rat removal to home organisation, even assembling flat packs, you'd be surprised by how many ways there are to make money online.
So if you can get on straight away, start bidding on jobs, start talking to real customers and start making money right away.
Airtasker CEO Tim Fung says more than 40,000 jobs are advertised each week on the platform, and often you don't need a special skill set.
Just everyday jobs that Aussies need help with, whether that's things like cleaning, where we've seen a 10% increase this year, whether it's gardening and lawn mowing and things like that, where we've seen a 35% increase.
41-year-old father of 2 Frank Hoyt is a panel beater during the week, but supplements his income by working weekends doing odd jobs.
Painting, you could easily make anywhere up to about $500 a day.
After 8 years on Airtasker and with a 4.9 star rating and excellent reviews from clients, Frank says it's easy to get work.
I'm very surprised not everyone is doing it.
If people really want to start their own business, it's a really good way to start, yeah, for sure.
Michelle Tapper, 9 News.
Great initiative, well done. Now, the Melbourne Cup Carnival, it starts this weekend. Corey, a Murray Bridge couple daring to dream.
Yeah, the trainers of the map are quietly confident, Brenton, of defying the odds and causing a Melbourne Cup boil-over. Up next, we'll hear from them on how the map is faring ahead of her shot at history. Also, the striker skipper keen to take his leadership to the very top. And the classic catch that sent the NFL into raptures. Hello again. South Australian trained mare The Map is out to defy history in Tuesday's Melbourne Cup, looking to become the first local winner since Jeune 30 years ago. Despite carrying the weight of her state, the trainers are daring to dream big ahead of the race that stops the nation.
At this unassuming operation on the outskirts of Murray Bridge,
she's going to run good. She's going to run very good.
This trio are mapping out a bold strategy to win Australia's greatest race.
Let's hope she peaks about Tuesday.
Dan Clark and Anupi McGillivray's pride and joy, The Map, is South Australia's first cup runner since 2009, booking its ticket with this thrilling finish at the Andrew Ramsden Stakes.
All to play for, and the Map gets up on the outside to win. It'll be here on the first Tuesday.
Since then, though, the 6-year-old's form has fluctuated, without a win since May.
People will probably say she's probably not in the form she should be. I beg to differ there because she's been in shorter races. She's been building up, and I think we've got her where she needs to be.
She loves Flemington, and now that she's been there a couple of times, we know she'll cope with that Cup Day atmosphere.
She's currently paying $34 to win the race that stops the nation, and these trainers like those odds.
She turns up on the big occasions.
She can stay. She can run 3,200.
Yeah,
we've proven
exactly.
that. But when she gets to 2,800 plus, that's when you see the best of it.
While a win for The Map would be a win for all South Australians, for trainer Dan it would be a win for the whole family. His father involved in racing for more than 50 years and establishing this property here at Brinkley more than 20 years ago.
He would be absolutely beside himself to think that we've got a runner in the Melbourne Cup.
And getting a start in the big race is one thing, winning it against all odds would call for one hell of a party.
It'd be a big hangover.
Crazy.
But a worthwhile one if everything goes to plan on Tuesday.
We think she's peaking.
Yeah.
She's pretty well spot on.
And if she is, this humble trio will well and truly have put SA racing back on the map. Will Crouch, 9 News.
Wouldn't it be a great story? Meantime, Geelong Cup winner One Smooth Operator is in doubt for the Melbourne Cup. He's got a cut heel and will be tested again tomorrow. And speaking at Flemington this morning, star trainer Chris Waller explained why Cox Plate winner Via Sistina won't run in the great race.
We don't know about Via Sistina in terms of 3,200 metres. We know that she's very good over 2,000 metres. So it's very hard to have the highest world ranking as a 2,000 metre horse and expect them to do it over 3,200 metres as well.
Via Sistina will instead run on Stakes Day next Saturday, with jockey James McDonald likely to be in the saddle again. Well, striker skipper Matt Short has thrown up his hand to captain Australia in the upcoming T20 series against Pakistan. But first, the one-day international opener at the MCG and a reunion of sorts with his old mentor, Jason Gillespie.
It's shaping as a career-defining summer for Matt Short. The Adelaide Strikers captain will open the batting for Australia's one-dayers against Pakistan and possibly captain the national T20 side in the absence of Mitch Marsh.
If it was me they wanted, then yeah, I'd definitely put my hand up for it. I've done it for a little bit now with Adelaide Strikers and yeah, really enjoyed being involved and making some of the calls.
Short has become a white ball specialist for Australia, but still harbours aspirations to wear the baggy green.
I'm always looking for that test cap. It's always something I've aspired to. When the time comes to play Shield cricket, I'll definitely give my all and try and score runs and take wickets and see what happens.
There's a spot at the top of the order, but Short has no desire to try his luck as a red ball opener, instead endorsing his Victorian teammate.
Look, I'm just going to put my Victorian cap on and go with Marcus Harris. I've just seen his amount of work he's done the last few years. He's just a quality player, quality person.
The men's international summer of cricket starts here at the MCG on Monday, when Australia face Pakistan in the first of 3 ODIs. Former Aussie quick Jason Gillespie will coach the visitors, which could spell trouble for his former Adelaide Strikers pupil Short.
He sort of knows me like the back of his hand, so he's probably going to tell them all my tricks.
Up north, Australia A was bowled out for 195 in their first innings. They trail India A by 120 runs. The visitors 2 for 208 in their second dig. Nat Unides, 9 News.
Well, the Strikers have lost their second match of the WBBL season, set a massive 213 for victory. The visitors' top order gave the target a real crack early. In-form opener Katie Mack was creative on her way to a half-century.
Worked fine, and that wouldn't have missed leg stump by much.
But unfortunately, that chase fell 65 runs short. The Strikers bowled out for 148. Footy now, and the Crows will be looking to lock in a top 4 spot tonight, with their clash against Geelong getting underway just moments ago. Meantime, Port Adelaide has some added incentive to their final home and away game. A win over GWS combined with Hawthorn beating Richmond could see them snatch a home final.
It's honestly just such an exciting position to be in. You know, to have the opportunity to play finals for us is incredible improvement off the back of the first 2 years coming into this competition.
Ange Foley will return to the lineup after being managed, while forward Julia Teakle will again miss with a knee injury. Well, Alex de Minaur is showing more positive signs in his recovery from a lengthy hip injury, coming from behind to beat Brit Jack Draper at the Paris Masters. The victory sends the Demon into the quarter-finals and provisionally slots him into the last spot in the ATP Tour Finals. Fellow Aussie Jordan Thompson is also into the final 8, defeating Adrian Manarino. Well, now to a catch that the NFL has set the NFL absolutely alight on social media. New York Jet Garrett Wilson reeled in this incredible one-handed effort against the Houston Texans, and it was that very touchdown which helped the Jets to a 21-13 win. It isn't, of course, the first one-handed catch at MetLife Stadium. Odell Beckham Jr. pulled down this stunning effort way back in 2014. Both great efforts. I can't split them. Can you? I don't know. I like the last one.
Their flexibility is incredible, isn't it?
Amazing. Have a great weekend.
You too. Thanks, Corey. Well, one of the country's leading economists says there's now doubt about whether the Reserve Bank will cut interest rates next year at all. That starts Friday Finance with Chris Kohler.
HSBC Chief Economist Paul Bloxham today said something that will worry millions of borrowers. He said the risk is increasing that the RBA takes even longer to cut, or that it misses the easing phase altogether. That's right. Some economists now say the Reserve Bank might not cut rates at all. To be clear, that's the risk. He still expects an interest rate cut in the first half of next year, as do most other economists, but he says it's not a certainty. On our market, a 0.5% fall, with Macquarie down sharply after announcing a disappointing profit result. And Wall Street was full of action after Apple, Meta, Microsoft and Uber announced sales figures, all disgraceful according to the market, and they were punished overnight. And the Australian dollar heads into the weekend buying less than 66 US cents, 60 euro cents and 51 British pence.
Thank you, Chris. Well, Santa's sleigh is coming in hot tomorrow. Chelsea has the Christmas pageant forecast next.
First, though, a look at tomorrow's speed cameras. Stay with us.
Wake up and laugh with Adelaide's #1 breakfast show.
Rudix and Laws, weekdays on 104.7 Triple M.
For the latest Adelaide news and traffic.
Hello again. Well, it is the eve of the Christmas pageant. Tomorrow morning, the grandstands here at Victoria Square and really right across the city will be buzzing, but it is going to be a warm pageant. We'll have a closer look at the forecast in just a moment. Today, we've had mostly blue skies in Adelaide. We made a top of 23.7 here in the city. Right now, it's sitting on 21. So sunshine right across Adelaide this afternoon. Mawson Lakes made 25, a touch fresher at Noarlunga. A mainly dry day across the state, 27 at Port Augusta and Port Pirie. In the south, 18 on Hindmarsh Island, and Keith made 23 after a cool start. But we are going to see temperatures soar tomorrow. Winds will shift northerly, dragging hot air across the state. It will be a dangerous fire day as those winds intensify ahead of a change. Warm winds also boosting temperatures over in Victoria tomorrow, a top of 26 for Melbourne. Back home, hot and windy across our north and west, heading for 37 at Port Augusta and Whyalla, up to 41 at Coober Pedy, and temperatures well above average right across the state. 36 at Murray Bridge, 31 at Victor Harbour. Extreme fire danger has been declared for 9 SA districts tomorrow, including the Mount Lofty Ranges. There's a warning to sheep graziers in the southeast and marine wind warnings in place along much of SA's coast. Locally, northerly winds up to 20 knots in the afternoon before shifting southwesterly. So for Adelaide, hot and mostly sunny tomorrow. The winds picking up late in the day. A top of 35 for Elizabeth, 34 for Outer Harbour, Marion and Glenelg. Here in the city, a warm one for the Christmas pageant. Should be around 23 degrees when it starts at 9:30. We have that top of 35 degrees on the way. But then it is just one day of hot weather. On Sunday, the cool winds move through, so back down to 23 degrees with a slight chance of a shower. 23 on Monday too, before it does start to warm up at midweek. But Brenton and Kate, certainly going to be a lot of fun tomorrow, but warm. Hopefully Father Christmas has packed a little T-shirt for himself.
And it looks like pit straight the Adelaide 500 there, Chelsea. Father Christmas coming in hot. Thank you so much for your company. That's all from us for now.
But we cannot wait to join you again for our pageant telecast from 10:30 tomorrow here on 9 and 9 Now. To then, have a great evening.
Time for a current affair. Good night.